Hello there. Welcome to Conflict News 2042, complete situation report for you from the Middle East, where Hamas claims to have repelled a ground attack on Gaza. This is first ground attack on Gaza. If Hamas's claim is true, what did Hamas say? Secondly, again, Palestinian fighters entered Israel-controlled settlement today to the east of Gaza. Secondly, Hezbollah fighters' deaths are being confirmed. More than 20 killed so far, 5 killed today. Meanwhile, Israel is using phosphorus munitions against Hezbollah on Lebanon border. Thirdly, two strikes by Israeli Air Force on airports in Syria last night. Second attacks on airports in Syria. And fourthly, some moves from Russia and China about the conflict in the Middle East. US is involved, we know. From day one, US involved, backing Israel. Now Russia going to start some discussions tomorrow. China has sent a few ships armed with missiles to the Middle East. Firstly, viewers, Israel so far has not confirmed any ground attack on Gaza. For days, we have been hearing reports that Israel is planning to invade Gaza. Ground forces are preparing, Israeli military assets are being moved close to Gaza border, but no ground invasion of Gaza so far. We have been hearing from US officials, some US news sources have been claiming that Biden asked Israel to delay the ground offensive until the release of hostages. Dozens of foreign nationals are in the custody of Palestinian fighters in Gaza. Two were released 2 days ago, two Americans. A woman and her daughter were handed over to Red Cross by Hamas 2 days ago. So while rumors going around that Israel could delay ground invasion of Gaza, Hamas claims that Israeli forces tried to enter. They entered Gaza today. In a statement, Hamas says that today, on Sunday, Israeli forces entered area of southern Gaza. They crossed the boundary. They entered the territory towards Khan Yunis, which is in southern Gaza. Hamas claims that its fighters repelled the attack. They carried out a counterattack. Two bulldozers and one tank of Israeli military were damaged in counterattack by Palestinian fighters in this front, according to Hamas. No confirmation from Israeli military so far. Israel has been sending messages to residents of northern Gaza to leave, as if it was planning to invade northern Gaza. But today's ground infiltration into Gaza happened in southern part of Gaza. Why Israel has been asking civilians that for the sake of protection of your lives, leave northern Gaza towards southern Gaza. Attack today was on southern Gaza, maybe a small scale attack. Israel is testing the waters. No confirmation from the ground confirming that Israel has launched a full-blown ground attack on Gaza, but Hamas seems to be prepared. Israel fears it could walk into a trap by entering Gaza. Hamas, PIJ, they say they are well prepared. While Gaza has been destroyed, viewers, videos, pictures are coming in showing the destruction in Gaza. Entire neighborhoods decimated. Tall buildings, multi-story buildings turned into rubble. Airstrikes, thousands of airstrikes conducted so far, but still Israel is not satisfied. It wants to completely eliminate Hamas and other groups. Meanwhile, Hamas fighters crossed the barrier, the fence built by Israel, a several mile long fence, and they entered a settlement to the east of Gaza today. Kisufim is the name of the settlement. Hamas fighters fired some guided missiles from Gaza towards Israeli military positions in Kissofen, and some Israeli soldiers were injured. And after that, reportedly, Hamas fighters entered this Israel-controlled settlement to the east of Gaza. We know that when Hamas PIJ entered Israel-controlled territory on the 7th of October, they breached the fence. They entered Israel-controlled territories in thousands. They killed people. They abducted people. They returned. Then we saw fighting. Fighting went on for several days in these settlements. Settlements are largely under IDF control. Hamas fighters, PIJ fighters, Popular Resistance Committee fighters, they have mostly retreated or they've been killed. But they carry out these hit and run attacks to the north and to the east of Gaza, it seems. No confirmation about large-scale ground invasion of Gaza, but Hamas says it repelled first ground attack on Gaza, on southern Gaza, by Israeli forces today. Thirdly was Rafah border crossing open a few minutes ago. 18 trucks carrying food aid entered Gaza from Egypt. Yes, the speed of delivery of aid is slow, but Rafah border crossing is not closed, at least. Some aid is managing to the Gaza area. It is being confirmed. Thirdly, viewers, Israel-Lebanon border phosphorus munitions are being used. It's not something new. It was reported a few days ago by Human Rights Watch and others. Now, again, Israel is not stopping the use of phosphorus munitions on Hezbollah fighters. Several videos are being shared showing these phosphorus munitions in use by Israeli military against Hezbollah fighters. 22 casualties confirmed so far on Hezbollah side, 5 killed today. Since the start of this conflict on Israel-Lebanon border, 22 Hezbollah fighters killed so far. Meanwhile, firing of guided missiles from Lebanon on IDF positions in border areas continuing today. Hezbollah fired rockets and guided missiles into two towns controlled by the military, Al-Abad and Misgawem. Both are on border. Some Israeli soldiers were injured in these missile fires. Secondly, 17 more towns and villages have been evacuated. People have been evacuated from these towns on Israel side of Israel-Lebanon border because this front, Israel-Lebanon border, is turning into a hot front on daily basis. Rocket firing, missile firing, attacks on Israeli military outposts, attacks on vice versa. So that is why Israeli military has decided to vacate. It has told people to vacate main town cities on the border within the radius of around 2 kilometers. All towns, cities are empty now, being controlled by Israeli military. More towns are now being vacated by people. 17 towns are reportedly on the border. Hezbollah says it is part of the war. Its people are dying. And US is warning. US is warning Iran to Hezbollah as well that Hezbollah should not be part of the war. But the thing which is stopping, I think, Israel from starting ground invasion of Gaza is likely involvement of Hezbollah fighters. Otherwise, no hindrance. Anytime Israel can launch ground invasion of Gaza, but what Israel going to face in Gaza and what could happen at the back on northern front? These are two major concerns for Israeli military, it seems. Fourthly, strikes on airports in Syria by Israel. Israel has conducted airstrikes again on 2 airports in Syria. Almost a week ago, they hit Damascus and Aleppo airports in Syria. And again, a few hours ago, they carried out airstrikes on these airports. Both airports out of service. Runways damaged. Last time when IDF attacked these airports around a week ago, back then, Iranian foreign minister was on his way to land in Damascus, but he had to abort his flight because Israel bombarded the 2 airports. Yesterday, reportedly, Ismail Haniya, leader of Hamas arrived in Syria. And after that, Israel conducted strikes on both Damascus and Aleppo airports. Some workers, airport workers, two at least killed in these attacks. No one is condemning Israeli attacks on Syria, by the way, because Syria is a country. Syria's territorial integrity, sovereignty, obviously, is being breached by Israel. And Israel has been conducting strikes on Syria for months, for years, saying that Iran is arming groups on Syrian territory, and that is why Iran backed proxies are being hit in these strikes. Who is which proxies were there at Aleppo airport and Damascus airport? I think Israel maybe knows that in case of expansion of war, in case of prolonged war, groups from Israel, groups from Syria and Lebanon are bound to join the war. That is why preemptive strikes should be conducted on airports in Syria and on Hezbollah positions in Lebanon, it seems. Lastly, US involved in this war from day one, supporting Israel. Now, Russia, China also getting involved, not militarily. Russia is going to start discussions on the Middle East from Monday. Sergei Lavrov, Russian foreign minister, has arrived in Tehran in Iran today. On Monday, a key regional conference is going to be held there with participation of Russia, Iran, Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan. Agenda, though, is Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict. Tensions there between the two countries. They fought a war too in the past, 2 years ago. Tensions again rising there. Main agenda is Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict, but obviously Israel-Palestine conflict will also come under discussions tomorrow. Secondly, China has sent some warships to the Middle East. 6 warships have been sent by China to the Middle East. The warships are equipped with hypersonic ballistic missiles. By the way, China does not involve itself in global conflicts. I have covered several conflicts in the past 3 years. I have not seen any military involvement of China. Azerbaijan Armenia war, Libyan civil war, Turkey Syria war, then war in Ethiopia. China was not involved. It wasn't involved militarily, wasn't involved politically as well. It wasn't part of any peace process. It just took positions on UN forums. Russia involving to some extent, Russia involved in Libya. It was involved in Libyan civil war. It backed LNA. Russia accused of supporting Sudanese civil war. It is supporting allegedly rapid support forces. Russians involve themselves in global conflicts. Americans too. Chinese, they stay away. They try to be part of, they try to mediate, they issue statements, they oppose US position, but they are not involved. They don't involve themselves militarily. Perhaps that is the key to their economic prosperity. They don't waste their resources on involvement in global conflict, though that just limits their global reach as well. No involvement in Sudan, no involvement in Ethiopia, no involvement in Middle East so far from China. I think this sending of 6 warships to the Middle East is just a sign of China showing that it is also there. Otherwise, I don't think China is going to take any sides in this conflict. Thank you for watching.